My boyfriend canceled our wedding due to an urgent business trip. In reality, he jetted off to a resort with his secret girlfriend. Instead of crying, I prepared a surprise and delivered it right during their romantic dinner. They were both speechless. I always thought Jason and I had the perfect relationship. 5 years together, 3 of them living in our cozy Boston apartment. I'm Emily Parker, a 28-year-old high school English teacher. He's a 32-year-old successful financial analyst at a major investment firm. We were the couple everyone envied, beautiful, accomplished, in love. When Jason proposed during our Hawaiian vacation last summer, I didn't hesitate. A massive diamond ring, a sunset, champagne, and his words. "Emily, you're the love of my life. I want to grow old with you." The next 8 months were consumed with wedding planning. I found the perfect dress, classic, with lace sleeves and a long train. We booked a picturesque countryside estate, ordered a 3-tier cake, and sent out invitations. My mom flew in from Chicago to help with final preparations. Only 3 weeks remained until the big day. Then it happened. Jason came home late, his face oddly tense. I knew something was wrong. We need to talk," he said, avoiding my eyes. Those words always spell trouble, don't they? But I couldn't have imagined what came next. "I have to fly to LA urgently. A sudden project with a major client. It could change my career. I'll be gone 3 weeks. Maybe a bit longer." I froze. 3 weeks? Our wedding was in 3 weeks. "But our wedding? Everything's set, Jason. Guests have bought tickets. I know, Em, and I'm so sorry, but we'll have to postpone. This is huge for me, for us. It's the promotion I've always dreamed of." His face showed regret, but something was off. His words felt rehearsed, his emotions flat. I'd known Jason for 5 years. I knew when he was lying. "When are you leaving?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "Tomorrow morning." Just like that. Tomorrow morning, my fiancé was flying across the country, and our wedding, planned for nearly a year, was off. He hugged me, promised to call daily, said we'd just reschedule, that it wasn't a big deal. I didn't sleep that night. Something gnawed at me. Intuition, maybe. I watched Jason pack. Too many clothes for a business trip, his favorite cologne he only wore for special occasions, and the secrecy, he hadn't shared the client's name or project details. Jason always told me about his work. In the morning, I saw him off to the taxi. One last kiss, a promise to call, and he was gone. I stood alone in our apartment, surrounded by wedding magazines and guest lists. I had to call the venue, cancel the cake, contact guests. A mountain of tasks to undo what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. But something stopped me from starting. Instead, I called my best friend Rachel. "He did what?" she exclaimed when I told her. 3 weeks before the wedding? Emily, that's weird even for a workaholic like Jason. "I know," I sighed, staring at a photo of us on my nightstand. Something's off. He was distant, and he packed too much. "Wait," Rachel's voice sharpened. "You said he's going to LA? Didn't Samantha move there a month ago?" Samantha, the new hire at Jason's firm. Tall, blonde, model-like, with an MBA from Stanford. I'd met her briefly at company events and noticed how Jason lit up around her. I'd chalked it up to professional admiration. "It's a coincidence," I said, but my voice wavered. "Maybe," Rachel replied. "Or maybe not. Emily, you deserve the truth." After our call, I couldn't shake the unease. The thought of Jason and Samantha together in LA haunted me. I tried to dismiss it. Jason loved me. He proposed. We were planning our life together. But doubt is insidious. Once it takes root, it spreads, consuming every corner of your mind. I decided to check his email. We knew each other's passwords. No secrets, we always said. I opened his laptop, which he'd left behind, and logged into his account. Nothing suspicious in his inbox. Work emails, newsletters, bills. I was about to close the tab when I noticed a folder labeled Personal. Jason had never mentioned it. My heart pounded as I clicked. Inside were a few emails, all from Samantha. The latest was sent 2 days ago. Can't wait for our business trip. Booked an ocean view suite in Malibu, just like you wanted. Counting down the days to our escape. Love. S. The world collapsed around me. I reread the email, hoping the words would somehow change. That I'd misunderstood, but the meaning was crystal clear. Jason wasn't on a business trip. He'd run off with Samantha for a romantic getaway, canceling our wedding. I spent the next few hours combing through their emails. Their affair unfolded like a cheap romance novel. Flirty messages starting 3 months ago. Secret lunch meetups. Plans for Samantha's convenient transfer to the LA office, with Jason visiting for work. Worst of all were their discussions about how Jason would handle his situation after returning. His situation. That's what he called our 5-year relationship and near wedding. I cried, screamed, threw things. Then a strange calm settled over me, like part of me died, replaced by a colder, more calculated version. I called Rachel. "You were right," I said, my voice hollow, and told her everything. "That bastard!" Rachel was livid. "What are you going to do? Call him? Confront him?" I paused. A confrontation? Tears? Begging him to come back? No, that wasn't me, and it would give him what he wanted, an easy out. He'd feel guilty, maybe apologize, but deep down, he'd be relieved it was over, free to pursue his new love. "No," I said. "I have a better idea." That evening, Jason called as promised. He rambled about a non-existent meeting, how tired he was from the flight, how he missed me. "I miss you too," I said, stunned by how easily the lie came. "How's the weather in LA?" "Great. Sunny, warm. Where are you staying?" A slight pause. "Company's corporate apartment. Nothing fancy." Another lie. I knew he was in a luxury Malibu hotel with Samantha, but I played the trusting fiancé. "I'm so proud of you, honey. This project's huge for your career." We talked a bit longer, and I ended the call saying I loved him. The words felt empty, like the shell of a cracked egg. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and dug deeper. From Jason's emails, I knew the hotel's name. A few minutes on their website gave me details about the ocean view suite. I even found photos. Massive bed, private terrace, outdoor jacuzzi. Then I checked Samantha's Instagram. She was careful, no photos with Jason, but she'd posted a picture of a champagne glass against a sunset, captioned, "New chapter begins #blessed." No geotag, but I recognized the terrace from the hotel's website. It was from last night, when Jason was supposedly at an important client meeting. I saved everything, screenshots of emails, photos, even our recorded call. But what next? Part of me wanted immediate confrontation. Call him, expose him, make him confess. But the colder, more strategic part knew there was a better way. one that would make him feel the same betrayal and humiliation I felt. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lying in our bed, staring at the ceiling, a plan took shape. A plan that would change everything. The next morning, I called my mom. She'd always been my rock, my compass in tough times. "He did what?" Her voice shook with anger when I told her the truth. "Emily, sweetheart, I'm coming right now." "No, Mom, you don't need to," I said, surprised by my own calm. "I've got this. I have a plan." "What plan?" "Emily, this man broke your heart, canceled your wedding for another woman. You should..." "Should what? Cry? Beg him back? Or throw a fit so he can paint me as crazy and feel justified? No, Mom. I'm doing something else." After a long talk, Mom reluctantly agreed to my plan. She always respected my choices, even if she didn't fully understand them. Next, I called Rachel. She arrived within an hour, armed with wine and ready to help. "So, what's the plan?" she asked, pouring us each a glass. I took a deep breath. "We keep planning the wedding." Rachel stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "What? Emily, you can't be serious. Not a real wedding, obviously, but Jason doesn't know that. He thinks I'm obediently waiting for him, ready to reschedule. I'll keep up that illusion, call him, talk about my feelings, say I miss him. Meanwhile..." I laid out my plan. With every word, Rachel's eyes widened. "That's brilliant," she breathed when I finished. "And savage. I love it." For the next 2 weeks, I lived a double life. To Jason, I was the devoted fiancé, calling every night, sharing my day, saying I'd postponed wedding arrangements, explaining things to guests. He seemed grateful for my understanding, though I caught impatience in his voice when talks dragged on. In reality, I executed my plan. First, I contacted the Malibu Hotel. Posing as Jason's assistant, I confirmed their stay dates and suite number. Then I hired LA's best private investigator, Mike Donovan, a former cop with a stellar reputation. "I need photos and videos," I told him over the phone. "Clear, undeniable proof of their relationship, and details on their plans for next Friday evening." Mike didn't ask questions. He cared only about payment, which I made from Jason's and my joint account. A small act of revenge, but satisfying. Next, I reached out to my college friend Alex, who owned a small printing shop. He always said he owed me for helping with his thesis. "I need something special," I said, showing him my sketches. "Is it doable?" Alex whistled. "Emily, this is bold." "Yeah, I can do it. Give me 3 days." The final piece was Caitlin, a colleague and talented amateur photographer. I invited her for coffee and shared my story. "You want me to do what?" she asked when I explained. "A photo shoot. A unique one." "I know it's an odd request, but..." Caitlin raised a hand, stopping me. "I'm in. This guy deserves everything you're planning." A week later, everything was ready. Mike sent dozens of photos and videos, Jason and Samantha on the beach, at a restaurant, kissing on their suite's balcony. They didn't even try to hide, confident no one from Boston would see them. Alex delivered exactly what I'd asked for: elegant, upscale, tasteful. Caitlin's photo shoot exceeded my expectations. Now came the hardest part: waiting for the right moment. Per Mike, Jason had reserved a table at La Mer, one of Malibu's most romantic and expensive restaurants, for Friday evening. It was meant to be a special night. Mike overheard them on the beach. Jason was planning a surprise for Samantha. Perfect timing for my own surprise. I called Lemaire, posing as Jason Miller's assistant, and arranged a special delivery to their table during dinner. "It must be at 8:30 p.m., I stressed. "Not earlier, not later. It's critical for Mr. Miller." The manager assured me it would be handled precisely. On the big day, I was eerily calm. Strange, knowing your life is about to change in hours. I called Jason that afternoon, as usual. "How's your day, honey?" I asked, marveling at my acting skills. "Busy," he said. "Lots of meetings. Probably working late tonight." Another lie. I knew he'd be at a romantic dinner with Samantha while I supposedly waited in Boston, planning our rescheduled wedding. "Don't overdo it," I said with feigned concern. "I love you." "Love you too," he replied distractedly. Those were the last words of love we ever exchanged. Hollow, meaningless words. That evening, I gathered Rachel, my mom, and a few close friends at my place. I didn't want to be alone for this. We opened champagne and waited. At exactly 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, my phone rang. It was Mike. "Package delivered," he said. "I'm in the restaurant at the next table, recording everything as agreed." I put him on speaker so everyone could hear. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. "Describe what's happening," I urged. "The waiter just brought a large box to their table." Jason looks confused. He clearly wasn't expecting a delivery. Samantha's smiling, thinking it's a surprise for her. He's opening the box. "Oh my God!" Mike chuckled. "His face is priceless. He's gone pale as a ghost. Samantha's trying to peek, but he's pushing the box away." I closed my eyes, picturing it. Inside was our wedding album, but not a typical one. Alex had outdone himself, crafting a masterpiece. The white leather cover bore gold lettering, "Our love story, Emily and Jason." The first pages held real photos from our life. Our first date, trips, the Hawaiian proposal, happy moments that now felt so distant. Then came the new photos, Mike's shots, Jason and Samantha on the beach, Jason and Samantha kissing at a restaurant, Jason and Samantha entering their hotel room. The final section was the showstopper, my photo shoot with Caitlin, me in my wedding dress, the one I was supposed to wear in a week. Standing beside a handsome man, Caitlin's friend, a professional model. We smiled, held hands, gazed lovingly at each other. Fake, happy couple photos, but utterly convincing. On the last page, a handwritten note from me. "Dear Jason, thank you for sparing me a marriage to a liar. I've found true love, as you have. I hope Samantha learns the truth about you sooner than I did. Best wishes, Emily. P.S. Keep the ring. It's as fake as your promises." "What's happening now?" I asked Mike, gripping the phone. "Samantha got a look at the album. She's flipping through it. Oh, here we go. She saw their photos. She's yelling at him in the middle of the restaurant. Everyone's staring. Jason's trying to calm her, but she just threw a glass of wine at him. Red wine on his white shirt. Nice touch." My friends and I exchanged glances. No one laughed. It was justice, but not joy. "She's leaving," Mike continued. "Stormed out of the restaurant. Jason's alone, still holding the album. Looks like he got hit by a train." My phone buzzed. An incoming call from Jason. I showed the screen to my friends. "You answering?" Rachel asked. I shook my head and declined the call. Seconds later, a text arrived. "Emily, please, let's talk. I can explain." Then another. "It's not what you think. I love you, not her. Please answer." I showed the texts to my friends. Mom shook her head. "Classic," Rachel scoffed. "Caught red-handed, and it's always not what you think." My phone kept buzzing with more texts, but I set it aside. That chapter of my life was closed. I raised my champagne glass. "To new beginnings," I said. Everyone clinked glasses, but the mood was more reflective than celebratory. Revenge wasn't as sweet as I'd expected. It didn't fill the void Jason left or heal my broken heart, but it gave me something else: control over my life, a sense of my own strength. Mike sent me the restaurant video the next day. I watched it once and deleted it. That was enough. Jason kept calling and texting for days. His messages evolved from denial. It was a mistake, a fling, to anger. "You had no right to spy on me." To pleading, "Please, one more chance, I'll do anything." I didn't respond to any of them. A week after what I called the restaurant incident, Jason returned to Boston. He showed up at our, now my, apartment. I'd known this moment would come and was ready. When I opened the door, he looked awful. Unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, rumpled clothes. Part of me felt satisfaction at his misery. Another part, unexpected pity. "5 minutes, I said, letting him in. "You get 5 minutes, then you leave." He sat on the couch, the one we'd picked out together, dreaming of our shared life. "Emily, what I did, it's unforgivable. I know. But I need you to know I truly loved you. Still do." I stared at him, searching for the man I once loved. All I saw was a stranger. "If you loved me, why did you do it?" I asked, surprised by my calm. Jason ran a hand through his hair, a gesture I once found charming. "I panicked. The wedding, the commitment. Samantha was just a distraction, a way to escape reality. It was never serious. Serious enough to cancel our wedding, serious enough to lie to me for weeks. I know, and I hate myself for it. But Emily, we can fix this. Start over." I shook my head. "No, Jason. Some things can't be fixed. Trust is one of them." "Is it because of that guy? The one in the photos?" His voice held a hint of jealousy. I couldn't hold back a laugh. "That guy doesn't exist. He's a model, a friend of my colleagues. The photos were staged." Jason looked stunned. "But why?" "So you'd feel what I felt. Betrayal, uncertainty, doubt. How'd it feel?" He lowered his head. "I deserved it." "You did. Now your 5 minutes are up. Please leave." "Emily, please. Leave, Jason. Your stuff's at your brother's place. Keys on the table." He stood, defeated. At the door, he turned back one last time. "I'll never stop regretting losing you. And I'll never stop being grateful I learned the truth before it was too late." After he left, I leaned against the door and exhaled deeply. The end of one story, the start of another. The next few months were tough. Canceling a wedding isn't just an emotional blow, it's a logistical nightmare. Returning gifts, explaining to friends and family, canceling bookings. Thankfully, I had support. Mom stayed for a month. Rachel visited daily after work. Colleagues showered me with care. I sold my wedding dress, beautiful, but now tied to pain and betrayal. I donated the money to a women's domestic violence shelter. Jason tried contacting me a few more times, but eventually stopped. Mutual friends said he'd transferred to the Chicago office, a fresh start for him. I wished him well, sincerely. Anger faded to indifference, then a strange gratitude. He'd unwittingly freed me from a relationship built on lies. That fall, I took a long overdue trip to Europe, one I'd always dreamed of but postponed because Jason called it a waste of money. Now, I could do what I wanted. I wandered Paris's narrow streets, sipped wine in tiny Italian villages, watched sunsets from Santorini's hills. Each day, I felt myself returning, the real Emily, pre-Jason, but stronger, wiser. On my last night, in a small Barcelona cafe, I wrote Jason a letter. Not to send. For me. I poured out my thoughts, feelings, anger, and finally, forgiveness. When I finished, I burned it in an ashtray, watching the ashes scatter in the wind. A symbolic gesture, but it brought odd relief. Back in Boston, I accepted a promotion I'd previously declined due to wedding plans. The assistant principal role demanded more time but offered greater impact on education. I dove into work with surprising enthusiasm. About a year after the restaurant incident, I ran into Samantha. She was back in Boston and walked into the cafe where I was lunching with Rachel. Our eyes met, and after an awkward moment she approached. "Emily, right?" she asked, though she knew exactly who I was. "Yes. Samantha, if I'm not mistaken?" Rachel tensed, ready to defend me, but I touched her shoulder, signaling I was fine. "Can I sit for a minute?" Samantha asked. I nodded, and she took a chair. "I want to apologize," she began. "What happened with Jason and me? I didn't know about you. Well, I knew he had a girlfriend, but he said you'd broken up. I wasn't surprised. Classic Jason, lying to everyone. When I saw that album, I realized how serious you two were. A wedding. I'd never date a guy who was engaged." "I believe you," I said. And I did. Her eyes held genuine regret. "That was impressive, what you did," she added with a small smile. "Never saw Jason so freaked out." We both laughed, and the tension dissolved. Samantha wasn't the villainous homewrecker I'd imagined, just another woman deceived. We chatted a bit more, and she left her number just in case. I didn't plan to call, but I appreciated the gesture. Life moved forward. I got a new apartment, adopted a golden retriever named Charlie from a shelter who became my faithful companion. I started photography lessons, a hobby I'd always loved but postponed. I didn't seek romance but stayed open. There were dates, some great, some disastrous, fodder for laughs with Rachel over wine. I learned to treasure my independence without shutting out possibilities. 2 years after the canceled wedding, I got an email from Jason. The first in a long time. "Dear Emily, I hope you're happy and well. I debated writing, but today's the anniversary of my proposal, and I couldn't help thinking of you. I'm not asking forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. Just want to say you were right about everything. I was a coward and a liar. Losing you showed me who I was. These 2 years, I've worked on myself. Therapy, reflection, trying to be better. Not for you. You deserve more than I'm better. But for me. I met someone new. She knows my history, including how I treated you. I'm learning to be honest, even when it hurts. She's sorry for her role. I hope you found the happiness. You taught me so much, even through the pain I caused. I'll always be grateful. Best wishes. Jason. I read it several times. No anger, no pain, just quiet acceptance. I replied briefly, "Jason, thank you for writing. I'm glad you're finding peace and happiness. I am too. Take care, Emily." Closing my laptop, I felt the final tie to my past sever. Total freedom. That evening, I had a date. My third with David, a literature professor I met at a photography exhibit. He was kind, smart, and above all, honest man. We took things slowly, getting to know each other. Over dinner, I told him about Jason's email. David listened without interrupting. "How do you feel about it?" he asked when I finished. "Peaceful," I said, "like I've closed a book I've read to the end. The story's done." He smiled and took my hand. "In literature, that's called catharsis. Purification through emotional release. Professor, even on a date," I teased. "Guilty as charged," he laughed. We talked late into the night. Books, movies, travel, dreams. With David, it was effortless. No games, no masks. As he walked me home, I realized I'd been truly happy for the first time in a long time. Our relationship grew steadily, not rushed. I'd been wary after Jason, but didn't let fear rule me. David understood my hesitations and never pushed. A year later, we moved in together. 6 months after that during a Greek vacation, he proposed. No theatrics, just heartfelt words at sunset on Naxos Beach. I said yes without a second thought. The wedding was intimate. Close friends and friends, only family on Cape Cod's shore. No lavish decor or designer dresses. Just us, our loved ones, and vows we meant to keep. Rachel was my maid of honor, naturally. The night before, we sat on the beach, stargazing. "Do you ever think about what might have been if Jason hadn't cheated?" she asked. "Sometimes," I admitted. Sometimes. I'd have married him, clueless about who he was. We'd have built a life on lies. It would have fallen apart eventually, with worse damage. "So, in a way, he did you a favor?" he said. "In a way, yes. A brutal way." I smiled. You know what? I don't hate him anymore. He was part of my journey that led me here. To David. To this life I love. She hugged me. "You've always been stronger than you knew." The next day, standing before David, exchanging vows, I felt absolute certainty. Not naive, blind faith in perfect love, but a deep understanding that real relationships demand effort, honesty, and mutual respect. Epilogue. 5 years later. "Mommy, look!" My 4-year-old daughter, Lily, holds up a drawing, a vivid, messy masterpiece of our family, she says. "It's gorgeous, sweetheart," I say, pinning it to the fridge among dozens of others. David walks into the kitchen, cradling our 1-year-old son, Oliver. "Someone's desperate for mommy." He smiles, handing me the drowsy baby. Our suburban Boston home is alive with laughter, toys, love, and love. I'm now principal of my school. David just published his first novel, a literary analysis of modern American fiction. We've struck a balance between family and careers, though it's never perfect. Today's a milestone, the 10th anniversary of my non-wedding, as Rachel and I jokingly call it. She's coming over tonight with her husband and kids for a backyard barbecue. While checking emails, I freeze at a familiar name in my inbox. Jason. We haven't spoken since that email 5 years ago. "Dear Emily, I hope you don't mind this unexpected note. I'm moving back to Boston with my wife and daughter. Got a promotion at my old firm. I know it's been years and we've both moved on, but I'd like to avoid awkwardness if we bump into each other. Boston's not that big. Mutual friends say you have a beautiful family. I'm truly happy for you. Best wishes, Jason. I smile reading it. No resentment, no unease, just peace with the past. Dear Jason, thanks for writing. Welcome back to Boston. If we cross paths, I think we can say hello like old acquaintances. Time heals, and life's too short for grudges. All the best to you and your family, Emily. Sending the reply, I step into the garden where David and our Lily's building a sandcastle. Oliver naps in my arms, his tiny hand gripping my finger tightly even in sleep. Everything okay? David asks, noticing my expression. More than okay, I say, settling beside them on the grass. Just thinking how life works. Sometimes what feels like a disaster turns out to be the best thing that could happen. He nods knowingly. He knows my whole story, every detail. No secrets between us. Mommy love, build help with the tower, Lily demands, thrusting me a bucket at me. I shift Oliver to a shaded blanket carefully and join in. We build together, Lily giggling, directing with giggles, David patiently complying, me adding leaf and twig flourishes. That evening, our garden fills with friends, Rachel and her family, my mom with her new partner, met through a senior travel group, colleagues from school, neighbors from neighbors. Laughter, chatter, the sizzle of the grill, clinking glasses. Mid-party, David wraps an arm around me shoulders. Lost in thought? He asks, catching my pensive look. About the journey, I say. How life rarely follows the script, but often takes us exactly where we're meant to be. Feeling philosophical tonight? He teases. A bit. I grin. 10 years ago, I was supposed to marry someone else today. I was devastated when it didn't happen. Thought my life was over. And now? Now, I see it was the best thing ever. Not the betrayal. That was cruel and unnecessary, but the lesson it taught me. The strength I gained. The path it set me on. He smiles. Lucky for me. Lucky for both of us, I say, nestling closer. Rachel joins us, wine glass raised. Hey, lovebirds, enough whispering. I'm about to make a toast. She lifts her glass, drawing everyone's eyes. 10 years ago, my best friend faced what seemed like the end of the world. A canceled wedding, a shattered heart, trust broken. But Emily didn't break. She turned pain into power, betrayal into wisdom, an ending into a beginning. She turns to me, eyes shining. To you, Emily. You showed me what resilience means. Sometimes you have to walk through fire to become who you're truly meant to be. Here's to your strength, your heart, and your unstoppable love. To Emily! The crowd echoes, glasses raised. Tears prick my eyes, gratitude, happiness. David squeezes my hand. Lily clings to my legs. Oliver coos through the baby monitor. Later, after guests leave and kids are tucked in, David and I sit on the porch under the stars. The same stars that glowed over us in Greece when he proposed. The same stars that'll shine over us years from now. You know, I murmur, if I could go back and stop what happened with Jason, I wouldn't. No? He glances at me. No? Because then I wouldn't have found you. Built this life. Become who I am now. He kisses my palm. I love you, Emily. All of you. Your history, your scars, your strength. I love you too, I say, gazing at our life stretching forward, boundless with hope. Sometimes betrayal isn't the end. Sometimes it's just the start of a better, truer story. Did you like the story? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next interesting story. See you tomorrow.